Polyphony literally means many sounds. And if you want to think of the best example of polyphony in nature, just imagine the dawn chorus in springtime. That wonderful sound of birds' voices, all mixing and crossing and matching, and yet making a really beautiful music. Before polyphony, the only music in the church was just chant, a single line, and that's still sung to this very day. And plain chant, which is familiar to many people now, actually originates right back in the 7th century. It's the earliest form of Western music that we have. And in fact, the very earliest polyphony was simply writing another part or two against the plain song, which worked with it. Till very recently, we didn't think there was any polyphony before the 11th century. But in the last few years, a piece was found actually from the 10th century, which is really quite extraordinary, and that's in 3 parts. Once polyphony had got going, it developed over 3 or 4 centuries into really incredibly complex forms. We even tend to use the word polyphony for music that's quite chordal. And some of the very earliest music written for the Anglican rite moves with all the voices moving together. And we're going to be performing a piece by Tallis, who was coincidentally a Catholic, but he wrote music for the Anglican rite, which moves in, there's psalm settings that Tallis wrote, and they move in quite block harmony. And there's one particular piece which many will recognise because the tune was used later by Vaughan Williams in his Fantasia on a theme of Thomas Tallis. The most elaborate piece of polyphony that ever came out of England was Thomas Tallis's Spem in Alium, which will be familiar to many through exhibitions, film music, even being used for adverts because it's so striking. That is in 40 parts, 40 polyphonic parts, and it is, as you can imagine, totally extraordinary.